Hi everybody, Mopsy here again, and happy 2018 to everybody. Um, Today I'm going to do a short overview on Puffy foam, and for those who either haven't heard of it uh, um, or have thought about using it, Puffy foam gives like a 3D effect to your designs. It raises the stitches up, and it's normally a foam that's about 2 to 3 millimeters in depth. There is craft foam that I've know people use, and but there is foam that you can buy for puffy foam for embroidery. I really don't know what the difference is, except maybe um, the embroidery design puffy foam stands up better for laundering, but that would be just a guess on my part. Um, it's very often used for baseball caps, backpacks, some outdoor clothing, but no restrictions really on where you use it. Here's another example where you can see how it raises the design up, giving it a really nice 3D effect. Um, uh, because of the length of the statin stitch to be able to go over the top of this, there are adjustments you do need to make, like the tension on your machine, but I'll come to that in a moment. So um, here we have, let's lay down our piece of fabric and my version of fabric, and on top of that let's lay down a piece of puffy foam. And let me just go to my red here. Now you know my graphics aren't very good, but what just pretend that what I'm what I'm drawing here is your needle and thread on your machine, and what you're going to be doing is like a satin stitch up the design. I say I do apologise for my graphics, but it kept going up and down here. Um, Here's one I prepared earlier. You would end up with something looking like this, and there's a few things happening here and a few issues. The first thing is every needle hit is penetrating the foam and perforating it, making it really easy to tear away. And you need to excuse me, increase the density a lot so you can hide the foam that's underneath. Although you can now get foam in all different colours, so obviously you would try and get the foam to match the thread colour that you're using. And the other problem here is we've got a blank end here. You can see the foam on the end, which looks a bit unsightly, and if I tear away the foam, it probably stands out a little bit more. So we have to do something with this end, and any blunt end like this, and to do that we cap the end first prior to doing the main satin stitch on here. It looks a little bit like a red Tootsie Roll at the moment, but anyway, so what you would do before you started your lettering design, you cap off all the ends. And here goes with my brilliant graphic drawing again. So these would obviously be very dense, tight stitches that you would do to cover this end, and so forth and so forth. And obviously the same at the other end, that would have to be capped. And like always, I made one a little bit neater than that. So you can see what we've done here is we've capped both the ends first, to cut off the foam on the ends, secondly to hide the ugly ends. And what you will be left up with is the puffy foam that is sealed on the ends and then sealed with the long satin stitches. So today I'm just going to give a brief overview of how I would achieve that on our Singer software. Now, more modern programs have programmed into them settings for puffy design where you can just cap the ends automatically. Unfortunately, with our old Singer software, we can't can't do that. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to my built-in fonts and let me do a letter P for puffy foam. Height-wise, I'm going to make it 2 inches. Generally, the letters are larger when you use puffy foam. And at this stage, I'm just going to stitch it and turn off my text. Zoom into my design. Zoom in a little bit closer. So on the letter P, the only end I have to cap is this one down here. But other things that you need to note on here is that we don't want any underlays or anything to flatten down the foam. The idea is that the foam stands up and it's 3D. So I'm going to come to my outline edit and I'm going to come into my embroidery settings, and at the moment you see we've got like 7,000 stitches, but if we come here to our preset fabrics and go down to special, you can see we have the option of puffy foam already built in, and they recommend a sharp needle, which I agree with totally on that. You want a sharp needle to cut through the foam. It really does stitch very easily, deceivingly so. And in changing it to puffy foam, it's left the edge walk underlay that will also help to hold down the foam a little bit like when you're doing an applique or an applique, and it also helps to cut through the foam and make that a bit neater. The one thing I don't like here are the short stitches, so I'm going to turn those off. And stitch type, we're on the satin stitch, so let me apply that, stitch that, close this box, turn off that, and now you can see we've jumped up to over 1,000 stitches just for the letter P, so it is stitch intensive. Let's go to our realistic view. I'll turn that off. So Singer has helped a little bit by having that puffy foam option. I'm actually going to go down density of 2 and apply that and stitch that. I think that's a little bit better. And now we have the problem of capping this end, and so what I did earlier is I created in the draw package just a tiny rectangle. Let's view realistic view, and that's what I created, just a tiny rectangle, satin stitch. It's also got the puffy foam settings to it, and all I'm going to do is to select the design, right mouse click and copy. Then I'm going to go back to my canvas, right mouse click and paste. So here's my end cap. I need to rotate it. Rotate it a bit better than that. And get that as square as I can. Not I will get this straight. Let me zoom in and see what's happening there. Okay, I'm not liking what that's doing, so I'm going to undo that. So we can see again, right mouse click, I'm going to paste that again, zoom into it and see if I can get that better this time. That's a bit better. So here I'm going to put it to the blunt end of the design, and I'm going to just bring in the sides so it's just inside the stitch lines on the sides and on the bottom there. And obviously you'd have it the same colour, but I've made it red just so you can see what's happening there. And obviously the end cap needs to be stitched prior to the letter P, so I'm going to move the P, reorder that to the end of the design. So now when I go to the redraw design and stitch, there goes the end cap and there goes the very dense design for the P, and there you go. That's the theory behind the puffy foam. And of course you will then need to play around with your tension settings on your machine. There is a maximum distance that the Singer will accept in the software for the length of a satin stitch. I'm trying to remember, it's either 7 or maybe 9 millimeters. I know it's under 10 millimeters. So anything larger than that and it will start putting short stitches in, which you don't want. So make sure you keep your width of your satin less than the default minimum of the machine. And then depending what fabric that you're stitching on, what depth of puffy foam, 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, you just need to play around with those settings until you get something that that you like the look of. And anyway, so I hope that's helped just as an overview with your puffy foam. Do let me know how you get on with this. As always, I'll put a few links into the comments of the video, but thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye.